Hi, I'm Tim Rumble, and welcome to another episode of Adventure Athlete. So I've been getting a lot of questions lately about which bike would be right for me. What's the one bike you would pick out of your whole lineup? So I'll go back a little bit. I guess that was about 2007. I got my first KTM 525, I believe that was, and then I also had a 950 Super Enduro. So I had the two bikes there. Spent a lot of time on the Super Enduro. Great bike. A lot of neat things with oil change intervals. Of course, I would do the oil changes about every 1,200 miles instead of, I think, the 3,000 that they recommend. Always, oil is a cheap insurance policy. But what I want to do today is I want to go through the lineup of the different bikes that I've owned and why I've ended up doing this 500 EXC build. Is this the right bike for you? Maybe. Let's go through this lineup. Let's just start with like the street legal 350 EXC. That bike is a lot lower on power and has a higher rev. So I don't personally like that characteristic even out of a straight dirt bike. I tend to lean towards a 450 or a 500. Somewhere in the 60 horsepower range is what I'm looking for. With the EXC lineup, the 350 and the 500, you're going to have very short oil changes with like a little bit over 1 quart. I think it's a 1.2 or 1.4 on this bike. So changing oil is something I would do, at least every couple hundred miles. And then, I put a lot of hours of slow riding, single track rocks, stuff like that. This bike will go down the freeway. I would ride it between 55 and 60, although it's got a top speed of just a little bit over 100 miles an hour. I don't like to whine something out. I like to take care of my motorcycles, take care of my equipment. Moving up to the next platform would be the KTM 690 platform, the Husky 701 platform. That's a neat in-between of these two. The 500 is more of a Swiss Army knife off-road, and it has a compromise on the highway because it's slower speeds. Single cylinder, short oil change intervals. It's more, I'll say, 80 or 90% dirt-oriented, especially the way that I'll set it up. Still be able to race the bike, Endurocross, King of the Motos, other district events, LA B2V, and even some BDR routes I can do on this. The 701 690 platform has a longer oil change interval, and I was able to cruise real comfortable at 70, although the bike would cruise at 80. I just don't like the high revs going down the road, especially on the single. I would put that the next best choice for a dirt-oriented person, or if you're going to buy something for two up, definitely a good way to go. Up from that platform, we have the 890 or the 901 Norden. Both great picks. Now these bikes have cruise control on them. Now we're starting to go more street oriented and still can do a lot more dirt on it, but it's heavy. It's a heavy bike to pick up. And when you crash something like that off-road, if you're looking at replacing parts and stuff, I always call it $1,000 crash. And now with our economy like it is, it might be a $1,200, $1,500 crash. If you want to replace what you scratched up and broke, depending on how you fell. A tip over, not so bad. But, a third gear get off, that bike is heavy. It digs into the dirt, digs into the rock. And so you run a little bit more off-road on that. Now, I'm a trials guy, so when I get on the big bikes like that, I still don't have to worry about really putting my foot down much. It's a good off-road bike, but I'll put the 890 901 platform somewhere around 70%, maybe 60% off-road oriented and 40% street. It does great on the cruise control going down the road at 80, 90 miles an hour, total capable. It's a super fast cruising motorcycle. So you guys see me that I did my 1290 build. Gosh, that's been like 3 years ago before they came out to the new platform one. And that was a wonderful bike. And I call that maybe 40% off-road, 60% on-road. The cruise control big V twin going down the road. The bike is so well planted that it's just really a nice deal. And with the 890 and the 1290, you have a long oil change interval. You're not working the motor that hard to make power going down the road. So hopefully that helps some of you guys make a decision kind of where you're at and how oriented you are into the dirt and the performance you want in the dirt. 701's kind of that in-between thing that it does off-road really well and it does on-road really well. And then when you go to the 890 platform, I think it starts doing on-road a little bit better than it does the off-road, although that I gave it a higher rating in the dirt. But as you go bigger in the bikes, the less fun they are for me to ride off-road. My 890 Rally was like a trophy truck, a two-wheeled trophy truck. You just rear steer it. Same with the 1290. I would go through a back tire in about 300 miles. People, oh, I got 6,000 miles. I don't know. Well, you're not riding like I'm riding. I like to drift the corners. You got that high horsepower, and just make that bike work and steer it with the rear. So once again, questions, comments, if I can help anybody out on making a decision, because I know these bikes are big money now. And I recommend buying something, trying to pick something up used, a year or two old, with a few miles on it. And I did that with the Husky, and I did this now with this KTM 500 EXC. So that's going to be it for now. You guys, questions, comments, please hit me up. I'm here to help. That's going to be it for now. I'm Tim Roble. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do. And drop me a comment down below. That's going to be it for now. I'll catch you here next time.